Let's face it, getting older sucks. Getting older in the age of social media is even worse. Do you hate it when people tell you to age gracefully? Do you want to know how to live your best life at any age? Well, so do we. First rule, don't call me ma'am. Now, here's Jodi Miller. Hey everybody, welcome to Don't Call Me Ma'am. I'm Jodi Miller. Don't fucking call me ma'am. Very excited for today's guest. I know I say that with everyone, but today I mean it. Just kidding, past guests. I know I also say that in every intro, but honestly, I really mean it. And you better not call her ma'am. Her and I have only been friends, I think, for about 2+ years, but it feels like a lifetime because she's really annoying. So no, I'm kidding. I love her. Honestly, I think it was an instant connection when we met. She's amazing. She's a comedian. She's a writer. She's an actor, and she is a new mom. Not crazy new at this point, but because of COVID, I mean, she's basically new. She's amazing. Just an all around super incredibly talented woman. Put your hands together right now. And I know you're not driving anywhere because everything's shut down, for Brittany Ross. Woo!
Thank
The
you.
crowd goes wild. Look at you out in nature. You're in nature. Are you just trying to escape your family?
Yes, I've actually set myself up an office in the garage. No desk, no anything. I just was like, I need one place where nobody can see me. I feel like somebody's always looking at me, whether it's my dog or my child or my husband. And I'm like,
I love that you can basically call anything an office, and then that's acceptable. You have nothing in your garage, but it's an office. You could honestly have a cardboard box in your driveway, and you're like, this is my office. Do not disturb me when mommy's working.
Yeah, totally. It's like I can't even sit in the driveway and talk on the phone because my husband will text me and be like, is everything okay? And I'm like, yes, I'm just on the phone. Give me some space.
Okay, we have lots to talk about. You have a lot of exciting things happening. But first of all, your daughter, so cute.
Thank you.
How old is she? Is she 8 months now? 9 months?
She's actually 10 and a half months, which is insane because when quarantine started, she was 6 weeks, I think. So the fact that it's a real true, we can see time passing.
Oh my God. It's
how long we've been in here.
That is the best indicator. I tried to get myself a baby before quarantine just because time is I don't know what day it is, what month it is. Everyone's like, it's the holidays. I'm like, is it? But yes, your daughter will soon be able to drive, and then you'll know that you've been in quarantine for 16 years.
Yes, for sure. I mean, it's the only thing that changes around here. Is she gets to wear new clothes just because she outgrows hers.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Oh my God, that soon she'll be in your clothes. I mean, very soon, I feel like.
I did put on this jacket of hers that, I mean, they make baby clothes way too big in the US.
Right.
I don't know what size they think kids are. I honestly think there should be a Midwest size and then kid size.
Having said that, you are also a very tiny human.
I'm
in a good way. You're a very small person. Everyone's like, I can't fit into my child's coat. You're wearing.
I mean, it didn't really fit, but it was just the fact that I could even get my arm in it. It was absolutely insane. I was like, who do they think kids are? She can't wear this.
Oh my God, that's really funny. You guys you're just gonna walk out in her skirt one day. Your husband's gonna be like, where are you going in that?
Totally.
So how honestly, how has it been though?
It's been in some ways, it's been crazy, but in some ways it's been so wonderful. My husband and I were both going back to work full force around 5 weeks old, and I'm such a workaholic type personality that I worked the day before I went into labor with her, and I was so freaked out if I didn't go into labor the next day. What was I going to do? Because I had no work plans anymore until I had this baby. So I was very thinking, okay, I am going to be able to do this. It's going to be fine. And I had sold this show, and we were starting pre-production on it, and we were supposed to go shoot. And
I remember all of that. Yes.
And it was really cool and something I'd wanted forever. And I was like, it'll be fine. She'll be 2 months old and like I'll like produce, write, and act in a show like at a camp, summer camp, and the baby will just be there with me.
She'll just be breastfeeding. I'll just have her like on my nipple and we'll just be shooting. It's just totally a part of the plan.
Yeah. And I had like no idea what I was talking about then. That was a bad idea. And I could see it in everybody's eyes when I would tell them before, like, yeah, I think it will be fine. They're like, okay. But it was like very disappointing that it shut down, and like then the company we were with pretty much got COVID and died, and the whole thing like kind of blew up. But it also made both my husband and I be like, oh, I guess we can hang out with our baby.
You're like, that wasn't even like on the calendar of things to do. And now it's like I have to rearrange my daily planner.
Yeah, I'm like, I think I like her. And like I wasn't really expecting to like her this much. So
she is
it was like
really cute though.
Thank you.
And she's a happy baby.
She's happy. Yeah, she's happy. She's like, I don't really know. We're not around other babies. Like,
yeah, I mean, there are a lot of asshole babies out there. Sorry to all the asshole babies, but there are. You could have had an asshole baby. But honestly, though, do you feel like some of the joy, I haven't had a baby yet, but some of the joy after obviously you have your baby is that you want everyone to see her and you want everyone to come over and everyone takes turns and people want to help. And like, I've flown out to see my friends when they've had their babies, and obviously, the ones that live out here, do you feel like you were like robbed a little bit of that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was like at the beginning, it was a little hard, but also we had 6 weeks where we were having visitors like all the time. And I remember like when she was born, my entire family was here, like my, all the divorced people, and then all of my
those are the most important, all the divorced people, guys, because they actually
there were a lot of people. And it was like, is my dad going to bring his new girlfriend? Maybe. Do I need to tell him not to bring his new girlfriend to the hospital? It was like, managing all of that felt intense, and I remember we got home from the hospital with her and I was like, oh, this is so nice. We'll have like this beautiful like moment of bringing her in the house. And we had like 3 or 4 hours till people were coming over, and 15 minutes later, like my in-laws knocked on the door, and then like my entire family knocked on the door. And so it was kind of like that for a bit, and it honestly was nice for us to like not have a reason, like not have to give a reason why we didn't want people to come over.
Oh my God, that's so good. Right. Oh, totally. Oh my God, I use that. I don't even have a baby. You know what I mean? Like if I did not want to see you or really even FaceTime with you during quarantine, then we're not like really friends. Like, and I felt myself like lacking excuses too. Like I was like, I don't even feel comfortable talking on FaceTime. Like you
don't know how this virus works.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, we still don't know. Like people say you can transmit it through the phone. I don't know. Don't even text me because I don't.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's like
far away, so that's been hard because his family lives far away. They live in Switzerland, so that's been really hard as it's gotten longer and longer, and she's like growing into a person. The fact that, like his sister hasn't even met her yet, and he hasn't been able to like. My husband's like clear, like he seems kind of American, but he's also clearly not from this country.
Right.
Like, so it's
Give me an example of that.
Well, he's way too like well dressed and able to talk about his feelings. And he can make a bed like too well to be.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
Talks about his feelings and makes a bed.
Yeah. But he's just very like, oh, refined, and I'm like, whoa, I'm from America.
Oh my God, that's
so I think
hilarious.
He wants her to like see a little bit of the other side of him. Right.
He's probably nervous that your daughter's only gonna like get the American side.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
I just feel like, yeah, I mean, I've obviously seen like, so many pictures of her, but it's like you probably have all these cute little outfits and like they do grow out of it so quickly and
Yeah.
like you can't show it off. You can't show her off. You can't, you know what I mean? Be like,
I
look
know.
at my baby right now. Like,
Instagram
yeah, of
because
course, obviously Instagram and all social media is great, but like you deserve to be walking out, you know what I mean? Going into stores with your baby and everyone to be like, oh my God, she's so cute. Like you deserve all of that. You know what I mean?
thank you, Jodi.
We should start a service of like babies you can rent after the pandemic that like are sort of similar to what yours looked like at like 3 months, 6 months. So you can recreate it and be like,
Yes,
this is actually what Penelope looked like when she was like, yeah, 3 months. You know what I mean? And everyone's
totally.
like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. You know what I mean? Now this is what she looks like now.
No, I even have like a couple friends who are pregnant and like all of their Zoom work meeting or all of their meetings for work are on Zoom.
Mhm.
So they're like missing the whole like pregnancy sympathy phase from the
Yes.
entire world. Like they're
Yes.
getting treated nicely out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Because
and like
nobody
that's
cares when you're
also
pregnant on Zoom. You just look fat. Like
no,
that's just, you know what I mean?
for sure.
It's already like not be flattering depending on like where, like I have a full face of makeup on at like 10:30 and I still I'm like oof. But like
I
from
should
my
have put
belly button
on
but like what'd you say?
I should have put on more makeup.
No, you
Zoom
look great. I mean, you look great.
needs
I
to
like
get
but
some filters.
I literally just have like well no, I've got the touch up filter because we don't need to, but like from the boobs down, like it's a big mess down here. I just got on like mismatching socks and like who cares? Like I definitely go through phases like where I just like I've given up. Like I don't care. Like whatever is on my body is on my body. And then I go through phases where I'm like, I've got to pull myself together. So this was actually a good. This was good for me to like feel like, oh, I've got to pull my half of myself together.
Well, I think if you can get half of yourself together, you're doing a huge thing.
Seriously.
You feel like there was a day passed if you put on makeup.
It's so true. It honestly, it really, I said this in the beginning too. It's so hard to believe how long it's been going on because it just doesn't feel like, we say like March or April. That seems so long ago because time has moved so strangely like slow, like crawling. But I just worked a 6-week job for a new show for Fox, which was great. I think the best part about it was we were in production like the last 3 weeks. So for the first 3 weeks, we're working from home. So it was a lot of like, rushing around, a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of that. Like it's still, and then when we were on location filming, even though we were getting tested every third day, some people every other day, and you had all the COVID compliances, which was amazing. It felt so incredibly normal and great to walk around, to say hi to people, to put makeup on every day, to have to be somewhere, to worry about traffic, like all of the things that we would normally do. And it definitely helped. It's
Yeah, it does feel like, oh, whoa, like this was my life. Like it's crazy to be like, I used to do this stuff. And
it's so wait a second though. I mean, like another thing too, like, so is your daughter like, do you like have like a group of other like babies, mommies and babies? Like, do you have that she gets to interact with other babies or okay.
So it's been kind of complicated because my family all lives here.
Right.
And I have a nephew who's a year older than
that's
my
right. Mm-hmm.
But my sister and her husband are both coaches. They both train at gyms.
Right.
And then my mom watches my nephew when like she's their like nanny pretty much. And so it's been a little tricky to be like, okay, well, we feel like you guys are my family, but you're exposed to way more people than my friends who are going to be in our bubble now.
Right.
And it was like we kind of had to choose, like, not really. I mean, we still see my family, but we're much more cautious. And like we got somehow like a box of rapid tests. I don't think we're supposed to have them, but we have them. So we use those a lot. And like, it's just, everybody tries to stay safe, but it's tricky to be like, okay, well, these friends of mine don't see anybody, but you guys are my
I
family.
need the friends that are like losers. I need my loser friends to be in my pod. Like you cannot like even have
Yes.
anyone you're thinking about seeing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
like I
And
can be your only friend is what I'm saying, basically.
yeah, it's a lot of pressure, but
But you need to decide now. And then also, please watch my baby while I run to Target.
yeah. No, we luckily we have this girl helping us
Oh,
who
good.
has been so great, and Penelope loves her, and I used to years ago I taught at a college, and she
Right.
was my student,
Oh
so
my
it's like
God.
she's so responsible. I know she is because I used to be her teacher. So when Penelope naps, she can do things for me, like, and that has been so helpful.
Right.
And she is also so safe, and like she has an autoimmune disorder, so
Right.
she's really scared of getting
Right.
COVID.
Yeah.
So that makes it, I mean, not that we want anybody to be scared of whatever, but it makes us feel like
Yeah,
this
no,
person
you keep her
is our
terrified.
house.
You keep her terrified of the world. She's now in your
Right.
bubble. Like anyone that goes into your bubble has no friends or they're terrified. That's the
Yay.
only people you allow in. Like you are the only
Totally.
world to them.
Totally. Yeah. So, I mean, she definitely sees other kids. They're a little older than her and
Right.
stuff, but she doesn't want to hang out with loser babies anyway.
No, she's way too cool. Does she have a boyfriend? I'm assuming she has a boyfriend already, right?
She has a couple, it's a rotation. She doesn't want, to give it
Oh,
all
I've
away.
heard of reputation. I've seen her pictures on Instagram. I mean, they're a little risque, but I mean, go for it. Like, own it.
Seriously. I mean, this might be her peak. She's so cute that I'm like, this possibly could
This
be.
might be where you peak, babe. So, like, you have to capitalize on it.
I do think about that sometimes because I'm like, do cute babies grow up to be cute people? I don't know.
I don't know. I actually know a lot of people that when I've seen their like baby pictures, they were like butt ugly and they're super hot now. So it's like, I don't know. It could be, you don't know.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, do I get her an Instagram now so that she can like capitalize on this?
Well,
No,
I
I
think it
can't.
really depends if like when you're getting her a boob job. Like if you get her an Instagram now, then you have to plan out like when does she make the
Yeah,
transformation? Like when does she get her lips done? When does she get her boobs done? I mean, this
totally.
is like baby stuff 101. I mean, the fact that, you know what I mean? Like some people don't know this.
It's true. I mean, I really freaked out that she wasn't going to be cute before I had her.
You were really freaked out about
I
that.
saw like a 3D sonogram of her, and I was like, I don't know if I think she's cute. Is she cute? I don't think so. I don't know. And then I like couldn't drop it for like 2 days straight, and I was like, I need to talk to my therapist. I have issues. And then I was like, you know what? I need to just be at peace with this inside myself, that there's more. This is clearly my own shit, that I feel like being cute is the only thing that matters like in life. And I was like, you know what? She's going to be whoever she's going to be. And like, if she's not cute, we can fix that later.
I mean, I will accept her, but know that that can be fixed. If she doesn't have a good personality, you know, then you're fucked. Like you have to, yes. Like that's all that matters. That's why they say they have a good personality. That's basically them saying like that is the important thing because everything else can be fixed under the knife, people.
Under the knife. Like if my kid had a nose that needed, help, I would do it.
Yes. Obviously, people were not advocating for child plastic surgery. Okay.
But we're just saying if your kid falls off the bike and needs a nose job because of it, like
obviously, then that's what you do because you don't want them to, have a deviated septum. It's all about health. That's what I talk about on Don't Call Me Ma'am. So tell me about this amazing short that yes, please tell me about it. I don't know anything about it, but you look amazing and terrified in that picture. So tell everyone about it.
Oh,
when did you shoot it?
We shot it like literally a few days before I got pregnant. and then we were about, of course, like everything in my life that I was like, I'm having a baby, I'm releasing this short, I'm shooting this show, it's all coming together, the universe is amazing. And then it was like, boom, COVID, your dreams are dead. So we shot it, and then we were like about to release it, and we were doing like some film festivals, and then they all turned to Zoom festivals, which nobody wants to be at a Zoom festival. And but it was based on like a true story that happened to me, and I used to do the Moth a lot, this like
So
thing.
so you wrote this is your short?
It's my short. Yeah. I told this story at the Moth. I won some Moth with this story. And it's about a silent date that I was in this like I was in this relationship when I was younger. And I thought the guy was like, you know, the best. I felt like way out of his league. He was like a model actor guy. And I was like, oh my God. And I was young, and like somebody had given me a book called like, Getting to I Do or something.
Oh God, I'm sure I've read it. By the way, people, a model actor in LA is like a Starbucks anywhere. Like they're everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm a
they're
model
everywhere.
actor. So when you hear model actor at first, you're like, oh my God. But in LA, it's like, yeah, of course, you're a model actor. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And it's like I don't know. I just got really wrapped up into everything he was like his whole thing, and he was like into this like spiritual group thing, and I was like, yeah, so am I. And and then I just like totally lost myself, and it felt kind of like I fell into like a cult like thing. And then I think this weird thing happened, and I never told anyone the story. And then I remember being like, I should tell this at the Moth maybe. And I told my husband the story, and he was like, oh my God. I was like, do you want a divorce? But basically he invited me on a silent date after we've been dating for like 6 months, and I didn't know what that was, but I was so into him. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I like showed up, didn't know if I was allowed to like text him to get into the building, or like what the rules of silent date were, and like got to the door. We didn't talk from the time I got there. He also was like not drinking and not having sex because of whatever he was like into. So I was like, what are we gonna do?
Huge red flags, people. I mean, the not drinking. No.
Yeah. But anyways, it was like super weird. We stared at each other for a long time. We did like weird prayers where he like stood on his bed, and then I stood up, and then we knelt and stood, and it was all silent. And then
were you just like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh yeah. And then the final thing is like he left, and I'm like sitting there like, and I've been dating this guy for 6 months, but we're not talking. And he like walks out of the room, and he comes back, and I'm like, are we gonna have sex? What's going on? He comes back with a hairbrush and like silently brushed my hair. Oh, and then like tucked me into bed like I was a child. And I like laid there thinking like, I'm never gonna tell anybody about this. Like,
Cut to, not only did you tell everyone about it and won the Moth, but then you made a short.
And Martin Starr played the guy, and he was just hilarious and like so fun to work with. And so like it was, and one of my dear friends directed it, and she did such a wonderful job, Juliana Guell. And she's like, it was like a coming together of like a lot of parts of my life, and it really cool. And we shot it at my house, which my husband got to watch me like reenact an old relationship in our room.
How did he feel about that?
I gotta say, he was like pretty supportive of it, but it was a little weird. But
that is a little weird. And the name of it is Silent. Is that correct?
It's Silent Date. Yeah,
Silent Date. I can't wait to see it. Everybody should see it. I think, you know, what's interesting about that is, while maybe some people can't relate to the silent date, we've all had dates that were like, or almost dates, just experiences that like you look back now and you're like, who was I that I even like participated in that? Or it's, I feel like I met this guy once after a comedy show. Mm-hmm. And he was a photographer. I remember I came off stage. It was some cool place on La Brea too that was like, I can't even remember like the name of it, but it was really cool. And I remember there was a bar in the back, and I remember I was having a really shitty day. So I was kind of weepy. And whenever I'm like weepy and vulnerable, like all the men come out of the woodwork. They're like, oh, she's like, yeah, they're like wolves. And I'm like the rabbit that's like injured. I'm like, I can't. So this guy's like, we totally like hit it off. and we exchanged numbers. And I think we even became Facebook friends. I mean, this was definitely before Instagram. And he asked me out to dinner. Everything felt like wow, it just felt really good. And I remember looking at the forecast and it was going to rain. And I have curly hair, people, obviously. So rain is like, no, it's like the worst thing that could ever happen. So I was like, well, I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to go get a trench coat and it's going to be hot. It's going to be one of those trench coats that just tie in the front. It's just going to be sexy and I'm just going to like lean into it. So it was a couple days before. He said, hey, it might rain. Are you still cool with dinner? But I know there's a really cool place, but they've got like a cool tent set up. I was like, I'm totally down. He was like, great. So that was like 3 days before. So I was really looking forward.
This is way before COVID times, right?
Oh my God. This was like 10 years ago.
This guy is like, it's so funny because in LA, it's like, it might rain. Is it still cool if we go to dinner?
Yes, it is. I know. Like, are you okay leaving me? Are you all right with that? Like, should we just wait like until it's not raining?
Until it's not raining.
I mean, because I don't, you know what I mean? Like it's just out. It's like a tornado coming where everybody, but that is people, just so you know, LA rain. Like, what? No one knows how to drive. And I'm from the East Coast, so I get angry, but I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't want to go out there because there are lunatics out there. And also it's like the hair and the wet and I can't. So it does. Everybody does cancel plans. They're like, I can't.
Restaurants empty. It's like,
it's like you don't even know where you are. It's like end of times.
It's really true. We're not even exaggerating at all.
We're not. Like, no. So that's yes. The fact that you're right. The fact that a guy had to ask me if I still wanted to go. But I was thinking, I bought a new trench coat, and it was expensive too. And I didn't have like a lot of money, but I was like, I'm just gonna look so good. I was so excited, and I remember him specifically also saying, "Come hungry." So I was like, oh my God, like I'm. Which is a very strange thing to say, but I'm definitely one of those girls that will chow down. Like I'm not just going to be like a salad or an appetizer. Like I will go deep into a plate of nachos with you, a lobster, whatever you're getting. So I was so excited. I don't think I ate all day. Like he said, come hungry, and this bitch was ready to eat. So I was getting ready. I remember my friends were going to Molly Malone's to see a band, they had called me and they're like, come. I was like, oh, I have that date. And they're like, oh my God, that's right. And I remember them being like, it's raining though. I'm like, I've got a trench coat. Like it was a big deal. So thankfully I hadn't put my makeup on yet, but I did do my hair. And then he sends me a Facebook message and said, hey, what's your number again? Can we talk he said, can we talk on the phone? Like, I'm going to call you. It was like texting was like a thing, but not that. I was like, okay, yeah. So I think he called me on my landline because this was like easily 10 years ago. And he just goes, look, I just have to be really honest with you. I am really excited about tonight. And I was like, oh my God, like that's a very nice thing to say, 2 hours before the date.
Yeah.
He goes, and I asked you out because I felt like, we had really good energy and I really wanted to get to know you. And I'm like, well, that's actually why I said yes when you asked me out. Same reason. He's like, and, I told my girlfriend about you and it was so like a throwaway line that I was like,
what?
I go, I'm sorry. Did you say you told your girlfriend? He goes, oh, did I not mention that I have a girlfriend? I said, no, you did not mention that anytime while we were planning the date, asking about the rain, like telling me to come hungry at the bar, nothing. And he goes, oh, I do. But we're totally always open to like a third. That's why I just thought you were cool with it.
Oh my gosh.
So he was basically, what he was calling to ask me was, is like,
that you didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know. He was basically saying like, look, I want to have a great time with you tonight. And if things go really well, like maybe you'll meet my girlfriend and, we'll see where it goes. Like I think I was, so you know what my first thought was?
Maybe I'll bring you home to my parents, but my parents aren't my parents. It's my
But I'm like, okay, that sounds good. While he's telling me this, by the way, while he's talking, I am actually now in my kitchen, grabbing the bottle of Jack out of my liquor cabinet and pouring a giant shot. And the first thought in my mind is, I'm not eating tonight. I haven't eaten all day. And that's what's happening basically, because there's no way I'm going on a date with this person. So I'm sitting there, I slam a shot and he's talking and I go, I really appreciate you being honest. This is probably information that you could have told me so many other times or just reiterated, even if you thought you told me it, you didn't. And like, he was like, oh, I'm really sorry about that. He's like, I thought you saw like my Facebook pictures too. Those are all my girlfriends and they're naked. Like he's a good photographer, but there's a lot of naked women. And I was like, all right, well, that's what he does. No, this is his girlfriend. And they were like, she was apparently very excited that we were going on this date. The whole thing was like so surreal and I'm starving. It's so surreal and I'm starving. I had a trench coat. So I was like really mad. So basically I hung up with him. I'm like, it's just not for me. Thanks anyway. He's like, it's such a bummer. If you ever change your mind, give me a call. No. So I hung up with them and then I called my friends. I'm like, are you guys at the bar yet? They're like, oh, we're late, like leaving in 10. I'm like, I will meet you there in my trench coat. And I think I wore that trench coat like every night, rain or no rain, because it cost so much money. And I already ripped the tags off because I was like,
gosh.
I was like very symbolic. I was like, this feels good. I love it.
Yeah, it's like your trench coat for being like, no, I have standards.
Yeah, well, I mean, cut to like 10 years. Now I'm like, all right, are you guys still like open for a third? Because I'm pretty lonely.
You were like, is it okay if it rains? Yeah, that's fine. I'm also cool with the girlfriend part.
Well, I am like really lonely now in COVID time. So maybe, I mean, like if they're still together and they want a third, I'm like open to it now.
You get 2 more people in your bubble as opposed to just one.
Oh my God, exactly. And guess what? I still have the trench coat. So there you go.
Perfect. You got to reach out. Do it right now.
Do it right now. Fucking seize the moment. Like, what are you doing? So
yeah, I mean, people in LA are crazy.
They're crazy.
Everybody has like they're crazy. You're like, what? That is insane.
Let me ask you a question. I'm sure you've told me this before, but when you ended it with the model actor, I don't know which one he prefers to go by first. He how was that? Like, I mean, was it soon after the silent date or was it?
Well, it was like, okay, I realized that wasn't like it, he broke up with me multiple times. Let me not beat around the bush. He broke up with me 3 times, I think. And one time it was because his psychic saw him dating a brunette. And he asked me if I had any plans of dyeing my hair dark. And I was like, no. And he's like, well, my psychic sees me moving in with a brunette.
Oh my God.
And then he would like get back together with me and like profess his love to me and all this stuff and do crazy gestures, like rose petals all across my street. And then it would be like,
oh my God.
Yeah, I just don't think this is working. And he was just like really fucking with me. So by the end, I like did not get back together with him. And that's when I like a few months later, I started to be like, whoa, wait, what was I doing?
Oh my God, yeah. Did you though at any point put on a brunette wig just to see?
No, but if I had one, I probably would have. I was like so like I was devastated. I remember being like it was just I think he told me he loved me for the first time and broke up with me for the first time in the same conversation.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was like such a mindfuck kind of a deal. But I think it made me, when I got out of it, I was like, oh, I am never gonna do that again.
No. Do you know
like,
where he is?
Like, yeah, I mean, we kind of had mutual friends for a while, or like we've like ran into each other around and stuff. But I think I know. I don't know exactly where he is right now, but I know that he's probably doing similar things.
He's probably very quiet. He's silent, is what you're saying. You don't know where he is, but
silent.
He is silent.
The weird thing is like he is a very good person. Like he's a good human. Like gives back a ton. Like super involved and like just like a good person. But there's something very intense about him that's like a little sucks you in. So I think if you're just like friends, he's one of the guys like if you're friends with him, you have an awesome friend.
Right.
But if you're dating him, you're probably like in the fetal position crying.
Speaking of in the fetal position crying, did you exhibit, like, did you have any like postpartum or anything after Penelope was
Um,
born?
well, after she was born, I was like so overcome with like how much I loved her, how much I thought birth was amazing. And I was so not that before. I was like, nobody opened the door for me. Don't acknowledge the fact that I'm pregnant. Like, I am still a person. Like, don't get me a necklace with my daughter's name on it because that's so mean. And I was just like very like I was like, I don't want to be one of these girly girl moms who's like, oh, my baby, I love my baby. I, have a lot of issues. And so when she was born, I knew I was going to love her, but like, I was like, oh my God, she's the best. And I was like, and now I love my mom. I love my dad. I love everybody. And I was like, I had my first like right after you give birth, you're so hormonal. And like for 2 weeks, I would just have these crazy, like crying breakdowns. And they would be over nothing. But the first one, I remember being like, Marco, I don't think I can ever do stand up again because I'm not funny anymore because I am too nice to be funny. And I was like, I'm just nice now. I'm never going to be funny again.
That's like a real fear with comics. Like when we're too happy, we just we're like, well, then I have nothing to say. Then no one cares. Like no one wants me to get up there and be like, everything is great.
Yeah. No, I'm like, I guess I'm a mom blogger now.
That's how a lot of
That's
like
my only
comics
option.
become. Yeah, that's it. Just talking about like what baby wash you use and what organic, natural like baby food and like yeah.
Yeah. No, but then I did the placenta pills. So
Oh
I
yes. My friends did.
I
Two of my
wish
friends
I
did too.
had more of them. If I knew that we were going to go through a worldwide pandemic, I
Yeah.
probably would have saved them till the pandemic hit because I did get a lot of anxiety when this first happened because it was like my life had changed in so many ways. Like all of a sudden I was like a mom, then like it felt like my career ended and then it also felt like the world shut down. And it just I remember hearing some conspiracy theory about Tom Hanks and like these comments, and then just my mind went like scrambly, and I had like my first like I've had panic attacks, but this one was like my mind felt like so cloudy, and I was like, I need to go outside. Like Marco went and stood outside with me, and I was like, look at every house around here. Everybody in the world is home. This is crazy. And I was like, what's real? Is this even real? And after that, I got on an antidepressant. And that seemed to help.
So the placenta pills definitely help though, right?
Yeah, the placenta pills helped.
Right.
I was having crazy anxiety dreams like when she was first born where I just was like it was crazy, and when I started taking those completely stopped. So it was like
amazing.
At least I know it's calming something inside of me.
Yes. I mean, I think a lot of us went through, I mean, I'm sure everyone does. We're all going to come out of this with like PTSD for sure. I definitely went through a phase probably around like June, July when both of my shows went on hiatus, and still it was only Zoom shows, and like it was some like drive-in shows were starting to happen, but I really wasn't performing. And I thought, like, who am I? I'm not even like, I'm not a mom, I'm not a wife. I'm a writer and a comedian, and if I'm not doing that, then who am I? Like, who the fuck am I? And that is a scary thing to all of a sudden have that like loss of identity. And I don't know what to do. And I mean, slowly it started coming back in different ways as far as like, writing again and performing again and like a different journey. But and I know you and we still need to have like that in-depth conversation about MDMA, but I've done a lot of MDMA, and I just did a phenomenal mushroom journey this past week. That was,
oh my gosh. That's what I
that
wanted.
was really, every time it's like incredibly enlightening. And I joke about it on stage about how I've done a lot of psychedelics during COVID. And I mean a lot, like every like couple of months, or you know what I mean? It's not like a crazy amount, but I like highly recommend it to everyone because it really puts things in a different perspective, and it opens up a lot of, you know, parts of your brain that have not been opened, and you really get to the bottom of so many things. And I've had like some really intense breakthroughs this last week. It was just an intense breakthrough of just like sobbing, but not like the sobbing where you feel hopeless or lost. Like you're sobbing of a pain that has been buried so deep for so long. You did not even know it was there. And it is like an infection. It's like an infected cut. It's like a cut that never really heals because you only clean out surface levels of the infection, and you never get to that one little last thing that's at the bottom of it. So it's never completely healed. It looks pretty good. It doesn't like cause any other, it's really incredible how deep you can go and really get to the bottom of some incredible issues. And I can only imagine, you know, like giving birth and your roles completely changed, and everything you thought that was going to happen. And by the way, that could have happened with or without COVID.
Totally. Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, like, yes, I definitely want to do like a mushroom journey or like MDMA. Like I started wanting to do it right before I got pregnant. And then I've never done any of those kinds of drugs. And when I was pregnant, all I wanted to do was do drugs. Really was like, I have to do. I was like, the second I get this baby
I think that was your baby. I think that was the craving. Some people just crave like ice cream and spaghetti, and you're like, I am craving like shrooms right now, guys.
Like psychedelic drugs.
My baby wants a journey hard.
She did. She really did. I even was like, you know, the second she comes out, I'm having 2 people come to the hospital. My dermatologist to give me Botox and shaman to take me on a journey. And I was like, that's
hilarious.
But I've been wanting to do it. And now I feel like I feel so much. It's weird because my daughter feels like she's so independent now, you know, like that
she doesn't need you. She's
she doesn't. She's like this little person. Like even when I'm feeding her a bottle, I'll put my hand on her leg and she'll pick my hand up and move it off.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. And I feel like she's definitely your daughter. She's definitely.
She is. She looks like Marco, but she's got my personality.
That's hilarious.
She started walking like at 8 months, and she doesn't even crawl. She just was like, I don't need to learn this basic. Throw me in the deep end, and like.
Did you throw her? Did you do the thing where you throw them in the pool?
We didn't throw her in the pool, but my sister.
Well, they drop her. They like drop them.
Yeah, we dunked her, and we were able to blow in her face and like put her in and pull her out. And so I was nervous, and my husband was like, I'll do it. So my sisters and her husband were watching, and Marco takes her, blows in her face, and then goes. And we're all like, what are you doing?
That seemed like really long. That seemed like a very long dunk.
He's like, oh, was I supposed to do it quicker? And we're like, yeah, like way quicker.
Did she cry?
A little bit, but then she was fine. She's like loves danger.
She like loves it. She's an adrenaline junkie at 10 and a half months.
She really is.
Like I think I told you, like my friend Calissa, whose daughter Kennedy, also gorgeous. She's a little over a year now, which I can't believe. They came over when she was about like 8 months. I think it was 7-8 months, and it was her first time in the pool. She was on a raft, and, you know, we were filming and we were like looking, and she was like just kind of floating around. She like was very wide eyed, like, what is this large bathtub? And then her husband was coming around the raft, and it was a matter of like a second, which is like, you know, so scary. She just tumbled in, and he was around so quick and scooped her up. And both her mom, Calissa, and I both just immediately went, yay! yay, you know what I mean? So that they can,
Yeah.
she could see that we were not scared, terrified, excited. She did not cry. She looked very surprised. That's what she looked. She looked surprised, like, why is my whole body wet?
Yeah.
But she didn't cry at all. And it's really like amazing that instinctually they know what to do. Whereas when you get older, you're like, like I used to have nose plugs. I just was not aware of like how to dunk your head underwater without holding your nose.
Mhm.
But babies got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
she had no reaction at all to that.
yeah. It's funny because I'm like such a gasper. It's like been a problem my entire life. Like anybody has something, I'm like, like, you don't want to drive with me. You don't want me to be in the car with you. I will scare the shit out of you if you're driving. And like, I am trying really hard to get it under control because I'm just like, she only is upset if we freak out, if she
Right.
falls or something, and I can't help it. I'm like, and
She's like, what's wrong with mom?
I'm
What's up with this one? All right. So wait, you were saying, so your daughter's very independent. So does that mean that you feel like now is a better time for you to be on a journey?
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked. I'm shocked that you never did mushrooms in college or anything.
Well, I used to smoke weed like starting in 8th grade, and then
Well,
I got
obviously.
arrested 3 times in high school.
As you do, everyone.
As we all do. And then I went to college on a cheerleading scholarship, as you do,
As you
right?
do after you've been arrested 3 times.
As you do if your name is Brittany.
Brittany.
All things like cheerleading scholarship, arrested for underage drinking, like.
I feel like colleges for cheerleading,
Right.
they're like looking at all the applications and they're like, here's a Brittany. Perfect. Let's go.
Yeah.
Cheerleading scholarship.
She's in. I didn't even have to try out. I just got a scholarship. So I went there, and my team, we started getting drug tested after like the president of the university saw a bunch of pictures of us using our megaphones as beer bongs.
As you do.
As
you do.
And they were like, I think the cheerleaders have a problem. And so we all started getting random drug tests, and a few people on our team like lost their scholarship and got kicked off the team and like had to move home from Hawaii. I went to school in Hawaii, and I think I said that, but I just wanted to make sure everybody knew.
Everybody knows. Hawaii, cheerleading, arrested, megaphone, beer chugging, funnels.
Yeah. So then I just really stopped doing drugs because, it was painful.
You don't want to leave Hawaii.
Yeah. And then I tried to smoke again one time when I moved out here, and I had like a major panic attack. And then I tried a few more times, and I just was like, I became really controlling, I guess, as I grew up. And
I mean,
it worked.
I'm not a big like pot smoker, and it's not like it just doesn't do it for me. I know it just doesn't. Like alcohol has just always been my like thing. Like as far as like I'm gonna have a couple drinks, I'm gonna go out. I'm never like I smoked a lot of pot in college, and it just makes me tired and hungry, and I can do that without anything. Like I'm tired and hungry right now. Like I just, you know what I mean? Like I actually wake up tired and hungry. I don't need anything. And everyone's like, well, take an edible. I'm like, and then I just want to eat everything. And also with an edible, I mean, they're good, but I always take way too much. I'm way too high. Then I'm staring at the TV, drooling. I'm like, this is not fun. I don't know how people function. And I know some people, a lot of people do it. It's great. And I think it's great for a lot of purposes. For me, it's just never been my thing. I also never did ecstasy, which is interesting because I've done a lot of drugs. Sorry, Dad. But I tried a lot of things like in college, nothing hardcore, but like, you do your coke, you do all the stuff, you try everything. And ecstasy came out, and I think I just graduated college. I don't know why. I just was like, I just didn't have any desire, even though everyone was doing it. It did never really, I just didn't. And then as the older I got, I was like, well, I'm not just going to take like Molly on a Saturday night. Everyone's like, why not? I'm like, it just didn't, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
It wasn't until I did, which I have to talk, so openly about my first MDMA journey with a therapist, and even that time, that was more therapy. Like it was definitely therapy. I got nauseous, very similar to ayahuasca. Like the more difficult things we talked about, the more like my body was like fighting, did not want to talk about it. My brain did, my body didn't. But then every journey I've taken thereafter with friends has been amazing and in completely different ways, because you get whatever you need at that time. I truly believe. And it's been both with shrooms and MDMA. Like it's I did a lot of shrooms in college, but that was very recreational. You weren't planning on talking about anything serious, whereas now, like if I'm doing shrooms with someone, we're enjoying nature, we're doing stuff, but a lot of like really interesting things come up. And you're at a place, and it sounds like you are too, where you kind of want to talk about that.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
What?
Jodi,
What was that?
got attacked by a squirrel.
Oh my God. I was like, oh my God,
really
what?
scared of animals, and like I've been hearing these squirrels like making all these noise in the tree. One just ran up on my like couch and like got like hit my foot and then
Oh
ran
my
off.
God.
Sorry.
That is, oh my God,
It happens
amazing.
to me all the time. Like I've had a squirrel fall out of a tree and land on me while I was jogging, and I'm like scared of animals. And
So
so
squirrels are like your like your totem animal. Like you are like you've got to like research what a squirrel means.
I ran into I saw a mountain lion while I was jogging the other day too.
That
was like terrifying and insane. Anyways, okay, sorry.
Wait, terrifying and insane, but I would totally be like, oh my God, kitty. And that's the last anybody ever saw of Jodi. Like the fact that I don't already have a mountain lion in my backyard with all of the other stray cats that have come is shocking to me. Like I keep waiting to like open up the door and just see a mountain lion just sitting there. Like, yo, bitch, feed me. And I'd be like, okay, kitty.
Okay, sorry.
No. But it was hilarious. It was the best timing when I was like, I feel like you are ready for, and then it was like, woo. I go, I think you're at a place in your life. And then the camera just went, woo, like over. That was hilarious.
I told you I'm like a big gasper, like freak out person. So clearly.
She just wanted to like really prove it, people, in case you were like, I don't think she does.
She does.
She was attacked by a squirrel, guys, right here on my podcast.
Well, that's something I need to journey about, like this fear
of animals. It's not all animals, though. You have a dog, right?
Yeah, but that was like a big coming around to getting a dog, and he's actually opened me up to be like way less scared of animals. But I was born in Alaska, and like my dad lives there, and there's bears there, and there's moose there, and like I've seen all of these things like just out on a walk or something. And I used to be like not scared to do it. And my dad would be like, just take the bear gun. And years later, I found out that was just actually a regular gun that he called a bear gun.
Oh my God.
I was like, my husband's like, I don't think there's such thing as like a specific bear gun. I think
that would be amazing though if you did walk into a store and you're like, I'd like to buy a bear gun.
And they're like, what?
Which is much different than a squirrel gun or a moose gun. I need specifically a bear gun.
Yeah.
So like when you like talk about like this kind of medicine and taking these journeys, like what is it in you that you feel like you want to access, or are you just open to like whatever comes up?
Well, I feel like I have all this stuff from that I like I circle on the same thing in therapy all the time. It's like, I've talked about this. I know this. Why am I doing this again? Why am I feeling like this again? Like, a lot of like, there are like some of it when I started like being open to the idea of it was some of my fear things. Like I think I had some like, with lowercase letters PTSD type experiences.
Right. Yeah. Lowercase PTSD.
And like I lived in Colombia, and like I heard bombs go off when I was a kid, and like it was what Pablo Escobar was. So like I'm a little more scared of walking the dog at night than maybe I should be, but so there's like some of that kind of stuff, but then there's so like I think my big underneath thing is like, oh, I'm always bothering everybody, and like that I'm always like a burden on everybody, and that's why I don't let anybody help me, and I like really let my husband get me a drink out of the refrigerator.
It's so interesting, and someone that I met recently was talking about, and he journeys a lot with ayahuasca, which is something I haven't done and still want to do, but I think that's going to have to be like a after COVID thing. But is that a lot of the reasons that, like, and I've done a lot of talk therapy, traditional therapy, and a lot of the reasons they don't get to the bottom of it, or that we can't seem to access what is the root cause, is because a lot of stuff happened to us before we were able to speak and were able to communicate. Like as babies or toddlers, we didn't have the words to explain, or even the thought. We didn't understand. You know what I mean? So how can we access it now and talk about it now if it happened before we had, before we were able to speak?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what, I think a lot of that type of like medicine and journey like brings you to a place where you can access things, or you just basically connect the dots. I do a lot of like aha moments and connecting the dots to like, oh, I really, really get it now. Like
Yeah.
I specifically had, and you're like, the first person I'm telling this to, with the exception of my friend who was with me, like I had just a total breakdown on these shrooms towards the end, like an absolute, like, and it's not even something that I wouldn't normally talk about. It's just my brain was not accessing it. Like it was definitely on a very subconscious level, but I was, for most of that I'm in the process of adopting, and I have always just looked at the types of love in your life, the intimate love, the love between a parent and a child, which now, you know what I mean, and it's like that unconditional love, like you know what I mean, it's a different type of love, and I really want that. And I all of a sudden just started crying, like I mean really crying, and what came out was that I am just so terrified that when my dad dies, because I lost my mom 7 years ago, when my dad dies, those are the two people that love me unconditionally, that I have that bond with, and one of them is gone and left a huge hole in my heart, which is on the surface, like you as a parent, you're just grieving. But I had not realized how scared I was that when my father dies, then that love will be totally gone, and I won't have it ever again, and no one will ever love me like that again. And it was such a so deep and guttural but really, therapeutic, and really like wow, I did not know that I've been holding on to that for so many years, just in my body, you know what I mean? Just like, so it really just, it's like that kind of stuff that I don't know if I would have, maybe I would have been talked there. I have no idea. I mean, it's not a thought that like, if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, yeah, that seems right. But at that moment, I really
like
felt
you
it.
felt it.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think that's it, because it seems so, when you figure it out, it's like, oh yeah, obvious.
Oh yes, and that's why you either repeat patterns. The narrative in your brain is still the same, because you're not really getting to what started the narrative. And I'm sure there's a lot of things that enforce that narrative, or like reaffirm that narrative. But if you don't get to what started it to begin with, like one of my major breakthroughs, that, and you just said it, it's like something similar, like not wanting to be a burden to anyone, like that definitely comes from somewhere. And I remember on the very first journey, I remember like my parents used to joke with me when I was little that I was like the gimme girl, like I wanted everything, give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that. And I know they were kidding, and I've talked to my dad about this now, and they were kidding, they were like playing with me, but I internalized it, and I stopped asking for things because I didn't want to be a burden. And then I stopped asking for things in all aspects of my life, where I was like, you know what, it's fine. And it's not fine. You know what I mean? It's not fine to stop asking for what you want. But we internalize that as a little kid without even realizing it. And we adjust, our behavior so that we're not a burden, so that we're not, high maintenance, so that we're not X, Y, and Z. And then we have no idea how it affects every area of our life. But I didn't even realize I had like other memories that I thought were the reason I didn't ask for things.
Yeah, no, I have that's like a big thing, that mine's very similar to that. It's like you know, I like clearly know where a lot of my things come from,
Right.
you know, and then
Yeah.
it's like, but I'm sick of it
Right.
happening.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm
you're a
like,
mom now too. It's
yeah, and
different.
I'm like, I don't want this to happen. I don't want to feel like that, and like I can't do that around. Like sometimes, like I'll get so in it that I'm like shut down, and I start being like, no, I'm doing everything by myself. Like, and Marco will be like, can I lift this for you? I'm like, no, I don't need any help. And like, I go in like it's like a fog comes over me, and I just start doing shit on my own for
Right.
like a day, just kind of like to prove a point or something that like
Right.
I can lift this box up into the whatever, and like, and it I don't, it's like I'm stuck inside
Right.
of myself. I'm like, I don't want to be doing this. And I can
Right.
tell myself like, this is crazy. Why am I doing this? I don't want to be doing this. But I I've gotten better, but I'm still like trapped in that place every once in a while. And I think it's, you know, it's definitely hard to live with for all of us.
Right. Well, let
You
me
know?
ask you a question though, because like, I mean, obviously, like this experience, started from my parents, and there's a lot of like other things behind it. And you have your own history with each one of your parents. And,
Mhm.
does it make you nervous? Because it makes me nervous thinking about it. Like, I think every parent sort of inadvertently puts something upon their child without even realizing it. Does
Oh,
that
yeah.
make you nervous with Penelope?
Totally. I mean, one thing I think that Marco and I were joking yesterday, because one thing, like Marco and I both have probably done too much therapy in our lives. Like, we're both like I remember the first time Penelope was like, it was one time Penelope was FaceTiming with my dad, and my dad said she was like making a lot of noise, like she had
Right.
distanced her voice, and she's like, no, and he's like, wow, you are really loud. And I was like, and that is great. You are so good at using
Right.
your voice.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I'm like, fuck no, you are not going to put that same thing in her head when she's like little like this.
Right.
She can be as loud as she wants to be, you
Right.
know?
And
So
it is like those little things. And here's the thing, you might, like cut to her 3 or 4 years old, and you're, running around in the kitchen, and she's being really loud and needy. I'm not saying that she's going to be, but let's just say, and you have that moment where I'm sure my parents, where you're like, that's enough, stop it. Like either like, either be quiet or like, you know what I mean? Like, don't be needy. Not saying that you're going to say that, but we
yeah,
say these things out of like, you know what I mean? Just out of the heat of the moment. And while it's not exactly what you meant, children are
yeah,
just like, their brains just take it,
just like
absorb it,
absorb
and like,
it
yeah.
and make it a story that maybe it wasn't, or maybe it
Right.
was, but I don't know. I think that I I'm sure I'm gonna fuck her up somehow. I
Well,
mean,
we're all gonna, that's our jobs. I mean,
like I have to, but before the pandemic, I was like, I feel like I'm in a very good mental space. I wonder what she would even talk to a therapist about in like years. Like I feel good and mentally tough. And then it was like, I'm like have to go outside because I feel like I'm floating away in my panic attack and I need to ground myself. Well, you know, maybe she's gonna have some stuff. And then we also joke that like our second kid, whenever we have a second kid one
right.
day down the road, like they're not gonna get a pandemic to bond with us. So they're
Right.
clearly gonna be fucked up because we're clearly gonna like Penelope more because like,
Obviously.
we had all this time with her.
You guys
And
might just think about like hunkering down for like 8 months after that second kid and just pretending it's a pandemic, so they both have the same like start in life.
experience. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm like very overly communicative with her, even though like I think they can understand a lot more than we think they can
I think they can
understand.
too.
So
Yes.
if I'm like doing something and she needs me, I try and be like, I'm just finishing writing this email and then I'm gonna come over and help you. And I'm not ignoring you. I just have something to do. I'm just like, she's probably like, okay, fine. I don't care. So Marco
I
and I
love
were
that
like,
you're
we're
like
gonna have
that
kids.
descriptive with her. She's like, okay, all right. I don't know what email is.
She's like, I just wanted to play with your phone.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I just want that thing that you like put to your ear. I don't, just give that thing to me. Give that device to me. Like, you don't even
yeah,
need to talk to me. Like, I just want that.
yeah, totally. Yeah,
Um,
we could just give her our phone and she could take
oh
care of
God,
the
isn't that
phone.
crazy? Like
Yeah,
we
it
never,
happens so
we didn't
quick.
grow up with that. Yes.
She walks around with my phone. Like if she finds it, she's like walking
She's like
around.
reorganizing everything. Oh, it's like,
We've
that's
all been
amazing.
locked out of our phones.
You're locked out.
I've
Yeah.
been-
You can't get in. Nobody can get in. She's just giggling inside. She's like,
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are like out of time, but thank you
Okay.
so
Well,
much.
thank you
Please
so much
tell
for
everyone,
having
first of all, tell
me.
everyone where they can find you and all the things you have coming up. And don't worry, I'm going to post everything in the description of this podcast so everybody will be able to find you. But tell them in case they just want to know right now.
Okay. My Instagram is I am Brittany Ross, and so is my Twitter. And I have a TikTok. I think that's what it is too. And I have like a lot more of my stand-up and comedy stuff on TikTok, which has been interesting because I don't know how to do TikTok.
I don't either. I posted a couple things and I'm so bad at it.
Yeah,
I'm not a
really
TikToker.
stand up on there though. It like really works well on there.
Does it? All right. Well, I'm gonna have to do. I
Instagram
just
people
yeah.
are like,
So
I don't care about this.
yeah.
So yeah, I have that, and then I'm working on a show now that I don't know when it will come out, but it's called Call Your Mother. It's a sitcom, and
Yes.
then yeah, we'll see what else happens with some other things.
And
but,
where can people watch Silent Date?
I post. Gosh, that's a good question. Oh yeah, on my Instagram.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
It's a Insta story now. Not Insta story.
It's a Reels. It's
IGTV.
Reels. Oh,
It's
IGTV. Actually, they
one
changed
of
over to
those
Reels. Now it's Reels.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
They're all
whatever.
the same.
It's on my Instagram, in my feed.
I'm very excited to. I'm excited to watch it.
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
yeah.
And I'm gonna have to call you and pick your brain about
Yes.
where she gets shrooms.
We're talking about all that stuff. No, thank you honestly for being here. I miss seeing you in person.
I know.
And I've still never met your daughter. And I mean, like, wait till she meets me because I am the coolest.
She's gonna love you. I've been saving you.
Yeah, you save like a special
I can't let her know what the real world is really like yet.
No, I totally get it. Yeah. Well, don't worry. I'll fill her in. I feel like she's probably almost ready to do shrooms too. So we'll probably just do a journey.
She should if this is like the early experiences.
Actually, for babies, everything is a shroom. Like she's shrimming all the time. Everything is like brand new. That's weird. What's happening over there? It's like she's just always like,
oh yeah.
whoa.
She went in the grocery store the other day for the first time because I needed to get cash, and she walked in and was like,
oh my God,
like,
right?
I felt like she was like, fuck you. You've been keeping this.
You've been exactly.
Like, what is
like,
this
what is this magical land that you've just brought me into? Oh my God. She has so many amazing things ahead of her. She has no idea. Well, thank you guys for listening and watching. I'm Jodi Miller, and this is Don't Call Me Ma'am. Don't fucking call me ma'am.